Do you consider yourself a traveler? Someone who has seen the world, someone who has been to the famous places, ticked the famous boxes, stood in front of the famous landmarks, and taken the famous photographs. Then let me ask you something. Have you ever stood at the edge of a lake so still that the mountains inside it look more real than the mountains above it? Have you ever slept in a yurt on a mountain pass that has been used by Silk Road traders for 2,000 years? And woken up to a silence so complete that you could hear your own heartbeat? Have you ever ridden a horse across a valley so wide that the other side is an hour away? With no road, no fence, no sign, no other person in sight? If the answer is no, mountains, glaciers, canyons, lakes, this is Kyrgyzstan. And if you call yourself a traveler, and you have never been here, then with the greatest respect, you have not yet seen what this planet is truly capable of. Kyrgyzstan sits in the heart of Central Asia, landlocked, mountainous, and almost entirely covered by the Tian Shan Range. The Heavenly Mountains, whose peaks push past 7,000 meters. 90% of the country sits above 1,500 meters above sea level. There are no coastlines, there are no jungles, there are no flat, featureless plains. There is almost nothing but mountain. And within the mountain, some of the most spectacular natural environments on the surface of this planet. It is a country the size of South Dakota. It has fewer than 7 million people. It receives fewer tourists in an entire year than Switzerland receives in a single weekend. And it contains, without exaggeration, without inflation, without the kind of breathless overstatement that travel writing usually requires, landscapes that would be world famous if they existed anywhere else. They exist here, in a country most people cannot find on a map. That is either a tragedy or an opportunity, depending entirely on what kind of traveler you are. Lake Issyk Kul. The first thing you need to understand about Issyk Kul is that it should not exist the way it does. A lake at this altitude, over 1,600 meters above sea level, in a country with winters that regularly reach minus 30 degrees Celsius, should freeze. Every winter, without exception. Issyk Kul does not freeze. Its name in Kyrgyz means warm lake, and that warmth generated by geothermal activity beneath the lake bed keeps its surface liquid year-round, while the mountains surrounding it are buried in snow. ASif Kul is the second largest alpine lake in the world, larger than the entire country of Luxembourg, surrounded on all sides by peaks of the Tian Shan reaching past 4,000 and 5,000 meters. In summer, the water turns a shade of deep, vivid blue that does not exist in nature at lower altitudes. A blue produced by the depth of the water, the purity of the glacial meltwater that feeds it, and the clarity of the mountain air above it. On calm mornings, the snow peaks reflect in its surface with such perfect fidelity that the reflection appears to be the more stable of the two images. The lake has no outlet, no river drains it. The water that enters from glaciers and mountain streams has nowhere to go. And so it stays, accumulating for thousands of years, growing deeper, growing clearer, growing more mineral-rich. Beneath the surface, archaeologists have discovered submerged Bronze Age settlements, entire villages swallowed by the rising lake level thousands of years ago, preserved in the cold, oxygen-poor water at depths of up to 10 meters. ASif Kul is a lake with an entire drowned civilization somewhere beneath it, still being excavated by divers in wetsuits. Standing at the shore of ASif Kul, with the Tian Shan behind you and this impossible blue in front of you, you understand for the first time what the word landlocked actually means. It means you don't need the sea. Not when you have this. Lake Songkul. If ASif Kul is Kyrgyzstan's most spectacular lake, Songkul is its most sacred. Not in any religious sense, but in the sense that this high plateau lake, sitting at over 3,000 meters above sea level and accessible only through mountain passes that close under snow for half the year, preserves something that has almost entirely vanished from the rest of the world. A living, nomadic culture, practiced exactly as it has been practiced for 1,000 years. Every summer, Kyrgyz herding families drive their horses, sheep, and cattle up through the mountain passes to the plateau surrounding Songkul and set up their yurts on the grassland around the lake. They stay for the summer months, grazing their animals on the high pasture, living entirely from what the land and the herds provide. And then, as the first snow approaches, they dismantle everything and descend again. This practice, called Jailu, the seasonal movement to high pasture, has been the rhythm of life in these mountains since long before Kyrgyzstan had a name. There are no hotels at Songkul. There are no roads that stay open through winter. There is no electricity supply and no permanent settlement. In summer, the lake is surrounded by dozens of white yurts and the sound of horses and the smell of wood fires. In winter, it is entirely empty. 270 square kilometers of frozen lake and snow-covered steppe at 3,000 meters, with nothing moving in any direction. The same lake. Completely different worlds, 6 months apart. Karakol and the central Tian Shan. At the eastern end of ASif Kul, where the lake narrows and the mountains close in, the town of Karakol sits at the edge of some of the most extreme mountain terrain accessible to non-technical travelers anywhere in Central Asia. Behind the town, gorges cut into the Tian Shan in every direction, each one different, each one extraordinary in its own way. Karakol Gorge is the closest, a valley of dense Tian Shan spruce forest rising steeply from the gorge floor, the trees so dense and so tall that the sky disappears above you and the temperature drops significantly the moment you step into the shade. At its upper end, the forest gives way to alpine meadow, and then to rock and scree, and, eventually, to permanent glacier. The transition from the shore of a warm lake to glacial terrain takes less than 2 hours on foot. Beyond Karakol Gorge, the Altin Arashan Valley, the Golden Spa in Kyrgyz, is one of the most quietly spectacular places in the entire country. A high valley of emerald grass surrounded by peaks exceeding 4,000 meters, through which natural hot springs emerge from the rock at temperatures warm enough to bathe in. Nomad yurts at the valley head offer accommodation. The mountains above are permanently snow-covered. The springs are always warm. The air at 3,000 meters is clean enough to feel physical. As if breathing it does something that breathing air at lower altitudes does not. An extraordinary valley that almost no one outside Kyrgyzstan has ever heard of. Skazka Canyon. 10 minutes from the shore of Issyk Kul, on the lake's southern coast, the flat steppe gives way without warning to a landscape of red and ochre sandstone formations that look as if they have been assembled by someone who had read every fairy tale ever written and decided to build a landscape that contained all of them simultaneously. Skazka Canyon. The name means fairy tale in Russian, and while the translation sounds simple, the name is completely accurate. The red sandstone has been eroded by wind, and the rare but intense rainfall of the region into towers, arches, mushroom shapes, crouching figures, castle battlements and faces, an entire city of rock sculpture covering several square kilometers, each formation different, each one readable as something: a sleeping giant, a dragon's spine, a row of monks in profile, a collapsing wall. At sunrise and sunset, when the low light catches the iron-rich rock at a shallow angle, the canyon turns deep red and gold. The colors move across the surface as the sun moves. What was brown at noon becomes crimson at 5, and almost purple by 6. The canyon changes its appearance 4 or 5 times in a single day, depending on nothing but where the sun is sitting. Ala Arka National Park. Most capital cities in the world are surrounded by suburbs that expand outward for hours in every direction before anything resembling wilderness appears. Bishkek, the capital of Kyrgyzstan, is different. 40 minutes south of its center, the city simply ends. The mountains begin, and within those mountains, accessible on a paved road and requiring no technical equipment, is a national park of extraordinary scale and beauty. Ala Archa National Park rises from the valley floor at around 1,500 meters to permanent glaciers above 4,000 meters in the space of a single valley. The Aksai Glacier, wide, white, and visibly ancient, hangs above the upper valley, its meltwater feeding the Ala Arka River that runs cold and clear through the gorge below. In the lower valley, spruce forest lines the riverbanks. Above the tree line, the meadows turn vivid green in summer. Above the meadows, nothing but rock, ice, and sky. The park is used by Bishkek residents the way other capital city residents use public parks, for weekend walks, for picnics, for escape from the city. The difference is that their public park has glaciers in it. It has 5,000-meter peaks. It has trails that, if followed, lead to passes and ridges from which you can see, on a clear day, all the way to China. KYRGYZ. The name KYRGYZ means 7 bulls in Kyrgyz, a reference to the 7 enormous red sandstone formations that rise from the valley floor in a row, their rounded shapes and deep reddish color giving them exactly the appearance their name suggests. They sit at the mouth of a gorge that cuts deep into the Tian Shan behind them, the red rock giving way to green alpine meadow and then to snow as you go further in. Local legend says the 7 rocks were once 7 bulls, turned to stone by a spirit as punishment for their role in a tragedy. A nearby formation, 2 rocks leaning against each other with a cleft between them, is called the Broken Heart and is connected to a separate story of love and loss. The landscape here has been generating stories for as long as people have lived beside it. It is the kind of place that demands explanation. The red rocks rising from the green valley floor, with glaciated peaks behind them, create a visual contrast so extreme and so beautiful that your mind immediately starts reaching for narrative. The gorge behind the rocks leads through meadows used for Jailu grazing, past wildflower fields, along a river fed by the Tian Shan glaciers, to a plateau at the valley head where, on a clear day, the peaks of the central Tian Shan are visible in every direction. A valley that begins at a row of red stone bulls and ends in a world of permanent ice and silence. Tashrabat, high in the Atbashi Mountains of southern Kyrgyzstan, at 3,500 meters above sea level, on a plateau that is covered in snow for most of the year, there is a building that has been standing since the 15th century. A caravanserai, a Silk Road inn built to shelter merchants and their animals on the mountain crossing between Central Asia and China. It is made entirely of dressed stone, assembled without mortar, its corbelled dome still perfectly intact after 600 years of Kyrgyz winters. Tashrabat. The name means stone fortress in Kyrgyz. Inside, over 30 rooms radiate from a central domed hall. Sleeping chambers, storage rooms, a dungeon, a central chamber that would have served as a communal space for travelers arriving through the mountain passes from both sides. The acoustics inside the stone dome are extraordinary. Sounds made in the center of the hall echo and amplify in ways that seem impossible from such a simple structure. The plateau around it is empty in every direction. On the hills above, rock carvings, ancient petroglyphs of ibex, horses, and hunters cover the boulders. These carvings predate the caravanserai by thousands of years, left by Bronze Age peoples who used the same mountain crossing for the same reason: passage through the mountains, survival on the high plateau. Layer upon layer of human transit carved into the same rock, on the same route, spanning 5,000 years. Susamir Valley. Between Bishkek and the southern city of Osh, the road climbs through a series of mountain passes, and then, without warning, the mountains pull back on both sides, and an enormous flat-bottomed valley opens in front of you. 100 kilometers long, surrounded on all sides by the Tian Shan, its floor green in summer and white in winter, its sky the particular shade of deep blue that only exists above 2,000 meters. The Susamir Valley, a high plateau so wide and so flat that clouds cast shadows you can watch moving across the grass at walking pace. The mountains on the horizon are always snow-covered. The valley floor is always either deep green or pure white, depending on the season. In summer, it is the grazing land of the Jailu, horses, cattle, and sheep, moving across a landscape so large that they appear as dots. In winter, it is one of the most isolated places in Kyrgyzstan, the passes sometimes blocked for weeks, the valley sealed in snow, the sky an impossible dark blue above it all. The valley is not a destination in the way that a lake or a canyon is a destination. It is an experience of scale, of what it feels like to stand in a space so large that the nearest mountain wall is an hour's ride away, a feeling of openness so complete that it verges on overwhelming. The Kyrgyz have a word for it, the steppe feeling, the feeling of being very small beneath a very large sky. Kyrgyzstan has no Eiffel Tower, it has no Colosseum, it has no Great Wall, no Taj Mahal, no Machu Picchu. It has no single site that appears on every list, that every traveler feels obligated to photograph, that generates the kind of recognizable image that travels the world on postcards and social media feeds. What it has, instead, is something rarer. It has a country in which the landscape itself, undecorated, unimproved, unremarkable to everyone who has never seen it, is the spectacle. Lakes that reflect mountains better than the mountains reflect themselves. Gorges carved by rivers into sandstone so red it seems to glow. Valleys so wide they make the sky look like a ceiling. A caravanserai standing alone on a mountain pass where Silk Road merchants once sheltered 600 years ago from exactly the same weather. And everywhere, the horses, moving across the valleys in herds, standing at the edge of glacial lakes, being ridden at full gallop across high summer pastures by men who have been riding since they could walk. The horse is not a tourist attraction in Kyrgyzstan. It is a fact of life, as ordinary as a car, as essential as the mountains themselves. Kyrgyzstan is not waiting for you to discover it. It has been here for millions of years. The mountains were old when the first person arrived. They will be here long after the last one leaves. But if you go, and you should go, you will understand something that no photograph and no documentary can fully transmit. Some places are not meant to be seen. They are meant to be inside of.